Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 update by Heerak for July 8th, 2020. Today is Be a Kid Again Day. It's that kind of sky blue world that we live in. If you are a glasses half full kind of person like me, I try to find good in everything. Um, and it seems like that lady there on the screen is like that too. Be a kid again day. Yeah, just get your Disney World Minnie Mouse ears out and watch this show. We have an exciting show for you. We're going to talk about a lot of things that's going to help you and your family survive COVID 19. Um, and so stay tuned. Um, yeah, we have some exciting news. Ivy League sports are canceled for the fall. It's a bummer because University of Pennsylvania, where I went to college for a bachelor's program in history and minor in classical studies, I graduated cum laude with honors. We generally win football games, and you indulge me if I I fly my Penn flag here. But yeah, I'm a alumnus of the University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League university, and we always trounce on Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. We like beat them by a mile. It's like the way President Trump did Hillary in 2016 election. Yeah, it's like that. Or Ronald Reagan. Who did he? Who ran against him? I don't even remember. You forget the losers generally. You just remember the winners, right? Hillary, who? Yeah. So yeah, I'm not a bum because University of Pennsylvania always wins a lot of titles in football games, and I generally go watch Penn football or Penn basketball. I interview students who apply to University of Pennsylvania, and generally we're invited to like alumni appreciation day with a special section for us in the football or basketball games. So I'm gonna miss that. I like seeing other alumni and watching the football. And generally they have the marching band playing, and you meet like players and cheerleaders and band members and other alumni. It's just a fun time. So I'm gonna miss that. But obviously it's better than having all those people die. You see the tombstones behind me? That woman, maybe her somebody she knows at University of Pennsylvania passed away. Yeah, from COVID. I mean, I'm talking about the future, like a year later. So I guess we have to say, yeah, we can avoid that future 1 year away. It's like Back to the Future. So we prevent death from occurring by closing down Ivy League schools, campuses, and sports. We save people's lives so that your mama don't have to go to tombstone that has your name written on it and you died at age 18. That would be so tragic. Yeah, so yeah, it's worth it. Sit out the game, sit out dormitory life or going to campus for 1 year. Yeah, it's not worth dying over. Yeah. So yeah. Um, in April 14th, if you remember, when we were kind of having like 4,000 people die from COVID, there was an announcement that there will be no sports, no concerts until fall 2021. It takes generally like 2 years to develop a vaccine. If it's developed, it may not be successful. The earliest is about 2 years. That's why you have that, 2021 date that people are predicting. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, MBL, Major League Baseball, is trying to push the season. There are like 66 players who have COVID now. And what are they trying to do? Kill their baseball players? It's ridiculous. I mean, the way people want entertainment is like Roman Colosseum, where you have the gladiators kill each other. I mean, geez, do we really want our baseball stars to die? I mean, yeah, wait for the vaccine. It takes 2 years to develop. They say if it's successful, it may not be developed in 2 years, but if it's successful, it takes 2 years. So, I mean, you don't want to play baseball players with that. And if you're a baseball player, you have millions of dollars in your bank account. You want to die? Geez, you're going to miss your children growing up. You're going to miss making love to your beautiful wife. You know, they had a show on the beautiful wives of NFL. I'm sure Major League Baseball guys have beautiful wives too. I mean, geez, do you want to die early? Enjoy your wife, enjoy your children. You know, uh, yeah, just consider this as God's gift to you. Take an early retirement if you have to, but I mean, there are millions of dollars in your bank account. Geez, maybe this is God's sign to you. Come on, enjoy your life a little bit. Get closer to God, read the Bible. You could do an online course. If God calls you to ministry, you could do an online ministry course and become an ordained minister and do some ministry. I mean, who knows? God may call you for all kinds of things. Yeah, get that bachelor's degree that you didn't get. There's so much you could do, while you are in COVID, because you have online classes, online degrees you could get from bachelor's to master's to PhD. Yeah, take this time, develop another interest, profession, connect with your family. There are a lot of stuff you can do. Yeah, don't let this time pass you by. Don't be a glasses half empty kind of guy. Yeah, sports isn't everything. Maybe you could become a sportscaster. I mean, geez, maybe you could develop your own sports show. Yeah, I mean, everything's going online, so sky's the limit. Um, Obviously, for those of you who are single, it sucks because you cannot have a traditional date anymore. Because a person you date could be the one who gives you COVID and you could die from it. So traditional dating is over, at least until there's a vaccine. If the vaccine doesn't develop, no cure develops, and just think of this as going back to ancient Asian arranged marriage times where you're going to see your wife on the day of your wedding. you know, yeah, I mean, what can you do? Circumstances dictate what happens, right? Yeah, you could have a traditional dating life and they get COVID and die. As experts from World Health Organization are saying, you can get this COVID again and again, even if you have had it before, because antibodies do not fully protect you. And Dr. Fauci said that also in U.S. Senate hearings, and we saw that in U.S. Senate hearings. He said the antibodies that you have once you have COVID, they're not the kind of antibodies that protect you. So whether you have asymptomatic COVID or symptomatic, you're not going to get antibodies that's going to protect you from future COVID-19. It's not going to happen because enough scientists have looked into antibodies and researched it, but they've concluded that it doesn't protect you fully. So WHO, World Health Organization said that, with Dr. Fauci. Every scientist now who are experts agree it's not going to fully protect you. So you get it again and again and again. So even if you had COVID-19 before, dating is not possible because you could get it again. And secondly, there are like over 30 strands of COVID-19, and this was back in January. So there may be like over 50 or 60 strands now, which means you may develop immunity theoretically to one strain, but there's like 49 strains that could infect you again. So yeah, traditional dating is over. And as we saw, in May, as the cases dwindled down, we thought we could just come out and play, but look what happened. Now we have far worse situation than we had in March. Um, Far more people are going to die. I'm predicting that a million Americans will die by the end of August, and then we'll reach a level where 10,000 Americans are dying per day sometime in the summer. That's my prediction based on the numbers. because there's like about 10,000 people getting infected per day. That's like 500 people dying at 5% rate. A 4% rate, that's like 400 people dying. So, and if there's ventilators around, it could be like um, 10%, 20% dying or more. It could go up to 100% if 100% of people need hospitalization. So yeah, dating is out in the traditional sense of the term. Yeah, that's just life that we live in because every person you talk to can be the one who gives you COVID that kills you. And because you do not develop fear immunity, this could happen again and again until you die. If there's no vaccine, if there's no cure. Even if there is a vaccine, it's not going to confer full immunity, so you have to be careful. It's like during flu season, you have to be kind of careful. And hepatitis C is a virus that kills many people in America every year, and it doesn't have a vaccine. And they worked on a vaccine for decades. No vaccine. It could be this way with, COVID-19. There's no reason to think that it's going to go away. I mean, hepatitis C did not go away. Um, and HIV did not go away. So some viruses just don't go away. They're not permanent. 365 days a year forever. So COVID-19 could be like that. Unfortunately for you, COVID-19 is much more infectious than HIV or hepatitis C virus, because you can only get a hepatitis C virus by sex, penetrative sex, or through like blood transfusion or sharing needles when you're doing heroin or some kind of drugs. Yeah, so it's hard to get, but COVID-19, someone just has to breathe on you, you get it if that person has it. So yeah, and he or she could be symptomatic or asymptomatic, you still get it. So every person you talk to is a risk. So we live in a different world now. We are triggered. We are triggered for yeah. We are triggered for viral infection. Yeah. Tombstones are waiting for you. So be careful lest you be consumed by coronavirus and then you end up in one of those COVID-19 tombstones with your name written on it. He died of COVID. Yeah, yeah, that sums it up. We had 822 deaths in 24 hours, so that's about 1,000. So it is getting bad. Yeah. If you want to march for life, the best thing is march for life at home. You know, um, yeah. At this point, unless there's a nationwide march for life, which has strict social distancing measures, no talking, because the moment you open your mouth, you raise the risk of your own infection and other people's infections. So yeah, do a lot of marching for life, but you can do that virtually, an online petition, start social media channel of your own. You can do what you can to oppose abortion. Most effective now is probably online. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Yeah, March for Life and March for Life online. Um, yeah, build your online presence against abortion. This is the election year. This is the year to let yourself be known as someone who opposes abortion. Um, yeah. So we are now at 132,277 total deaths. We're going at a rate of 1,000 per day. So by end of July, we'll have like almost 160,000 at this current rate. Obviously, deaths are going to rise exponentially because cases are rising exponentially. So death rate is going to be several thousand per day. So that's coming. People need time to get sick. They take anywhere from 1 week to 5 weeks to get sick enough to die. If they go to hospital, it could take 2 months to die. So yeah, that's why the death lag behind. Um, yeah, yesterday we had 2,994,008 cases. Today we have 3,053,328 cases. So it went up like over 60,000 or around 60,000. Yeah, we're headed to 100,000 cases per day, like Dr. Fauci was saying in the Senate hearing. Yeah, it's bad. It's looking really, really bad. When we look at the top COVID-19 cases in the world, obviously, more cases there are, more death there will be. Death follows cases, even if it's at a low rate. People are going to die. More people are going to die. And so we have U5, top five right now. Uh, and these are actually cases that are kind of growing still. Um, yeah, United States at 3,053,328 cases, 132,277 deaths. We're at 4%. I rounded down. We're like at 4.4%. That's because of so many cases that are happening. It went from 5 to 4%. But it'll probably go up again pretty soon when the deaths start. Brazil is at 1,713,160 cases, and their death is at 67,964. And as you know, Brazil's president has COVID. Hopefully, he doesn't die from it, um, but he has COVID. Um, and Brazil's cases are increasing daily. Yeah, so it's pretty bad. Their death rate is around 4%, like us, or lower. I rounded down, or rounded up. Um, in India, um, which is a problem, it's seeing an exponential growth of COVID-19. And we have 742,470 cases and 20,642 deaths. Indians are dying a lot, and their rate of infection is going up, rate of death is going up. In a couple of weeks, they may be over 40,000 deaths. It's kind of sad what's happening in India. Russia is number four, and they are 699,749 cases, and their deaths are at 10,650. It's rounded up to 2%. It's at 1.5%, but it's like rounded up to 2%, whole number. Sweden is the least rate of death percentage-wise. Peru has 312,911 cases, and their death rate is at 11,133, 4%. Mexico has far more deaths than Peru or Russia or India, but their cases are still fairly low. Their death rate is like 14%. So that's why they're not on the top five, because the top five ranking is based on the percentage. Yeah, Mexico's president's visiting America today. It's good to see him with President Trump in the White House. But unfortunately, his country, 14% are dying. It's just tragic. So let's go to the next page. Look at this. It's like the world is coming to an abrupt end. 3 states, total about 30,000 cases. 3 states have 30,000 cases. Think about that, 30,000 cases for 3 states, California, Florida, and Texas. The rate of death, if it's 5%, is 1,500 deaths. So they're going to die in the future. We know this because hospitals are filling up. So we can expect at least 5% death rate in the next few weeks of all the cases, probably much higher than that. Because once you run out of ICU beds, you have a situation where a lot of people die. Yeah. People need ventilators. If you don't have ventilators, they die. It's pretty simple as that. We know British Prime Minister Boris Johnson needed a ventilator. He got ventilated and he survived. So people do survive if they have ventilators. If you don't have ventilators, you're going to die. So if you run out of ventilator, that's like death for people who need ventilation. You need oxygen to live. And ventilators pump oxygen into you when your lungs can't. Yeah. So tragedy is coming to America. Um, don't believe the liberal media. I don't believe the liberal media. Don't believe the liberal media when they say, oh, this is not that serious. People are not going to die. Of course they're going to die. This is a killer virus. What do you think a pandemic is? Do you think it's like fun day in the sun and there's no death? No, it's not like that. Yeah, don't believe the liberal media. I mean, we use our calculator to calculate people's death. Because you need the calculator now. Like so many people are getting COVID every day. Without a calculator, you can't calculate the percentage of people who are going to die, number of people who are going to die. I mean, you have to use a calculator to calculate this thing. Geez, yeah. I mean, it's pretty bad out there. It's pretty bad, and it's not going to get better. Yeah, I'm a glasses half full, very optimistic person, but I'm also realistic. If there are 30,000 cases, you can't say, oh, nobody's going to die. No, that doesn't work. People are going to die. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. I got to drink a little more Dr. Pepper. It is a little bit depressing, I have to say, because all these deaths are coming. It's like calm before the storm. Do you know what I mean? I heard the hurricane is headed this way to mid-Atlantic states. I'm in Arlington, Alexandria area. I mean, I'm in Arlington, but it's right next to Alexandria. So I'm in Virginia's 8th district. I'm running for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th district, which includes Arlington, where I live, Alexandria, Fairfax, Falls Church, Fairfax County, parts of it. And so this is like the epicenter of COVID-19 during peak 1, and it's going to become epicenter of COVID-19 during peak 2. We've been having over 600 cases. We had over 600 cases today. We had over 600 cases yesterday. Yeah, we're headed to like 1,000 this week. We'll probably hit 1,000 this week or next week or more. Yeah, it's headed there. I mean, North Carolina is, breaking its record, cases, right? And it just right it borders on Virginia. So there's no doubt it's going to come from the south through the border between North Carolina and Virginia. It's going to come here. And also there's like a lot of traffic in Washington, D.C. And Arlington County borders Washington, D.C., the city, the capital. So everybody who's flying in, like the president from Mexico flew in. I mean, he might have brought COVID with him. Who knows? He and his entourage. So these kind of, coronavirus cases will come with people who are flying in. So COVID cases are up in Maryland as well. And in Pennsylvania, there are like 1,000 cases, So things are rising. So definitely Virginia has entered peak 2, but we're like where Texas was like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. Like we're eventually going to get there, but we're slowly entering. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's, 600 is no laughing matter because we're talking about 600 people who are infected. If 5% of them die, that's, it's no joke. And so that's like every day. Yeah, so it's coming. Yeah, it's coming. Harry's looking at me with concern. Do you see the concern in his eye? He looks very, very concerned. Harry's Yeah, that's definitely a look of concern. Um, yeah, COVID-19 with death waiting. Have you picked out your own tombstone or your epitaph, what you want to write on your tombstone? Have you made out a will? You probably should make out a will, especially if you have a child, a wife, right? Because or you have property, because you can die in the second peak in the summer, or if you miss and survive second peak, or if you get it but you still survive and have antibodies, you can still get COVID from a different strand or even the same strand if your immunity decreases, because Dr. Fauci says the immunity is not forever. It may last a few days or a few hours. He doesn't know. Even if you have immunity. So, but he's sure that it's not going to last forever because it's not the type of antibody that confers full immunity. That's why. And so, yeah, so you may die in Christmas time, especially if you're like over 35. I mean, your chance of dying is significantly higher than people who are under 35. So, yeah, so I would be careful. I mean, if you have asthma, your chance of dying if you get COVID is probably close to 90% because that's a respiratory illness that you have. That's a condition you have. So you're taking albuterol or, um, and you know how it feels when you can't breathe and you're coughing because you have an asthma attack. Yeah, you're gonna die if you get COVID. There's a high chance you'll die. And so yeah, you can expect a lot of people to die because a lot of people in America has asthma. You know why a lot of people in America has asthma? You know that cockroaches can give you asthma? Did you know that? Like if you live in a neighborhood or an apartment building, there are cockroaches walking around. Cockroaches can give you asthma or your children asthma. It's easy for your children to get asthma from cockroaches. Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons why so many people in the inner city are dying, getting COVID and dying, is because there are a lot of cockroaches in inner city apartments. So a lot of people have asthma, and they might be diagnosed for it. They not be diagnosed for it, but they have like asthma conditions or weakened respiratory system. So when they get COVID, they die. That's why a lot of people of color are dying because their respiratory system is compromised because of all these cockroaches in inner city apartment buildings. Yeah, yeah, it just and lead. You know how like a lot of old buildings that have lead in them, so they compromise your body systems, and that's why a lot of people of color are dying. I mean, you go to Africa, hardly anyone's dying because they don't have the kind of problems that we have over there. Like lead problems in old buildings, cockroach problems. So they're not dying. You know, so it's not that your race is what's killing you. It's the uh, condition you develop because of the social determinants of health, SOD. Yeah. Um, or SOTH. Yeah. So social determinant of health is a very important thing. As you know, I learned from the great Professor Lorraine Spencer, who's a public health expert in Arlington County. She was a manager in Arlington Public Health. And my clinical last semester was in Arlington Department of Health, working with Arlington Public School nurses to develop systemic methods to improve healthcare delivery among nurses in Arlington County, specifically Arlington County Public Schools. So social determinants of health can impact you, and this is a good example of how social determinants of health are impacting people of color, like Black people and Hispanic people, poor people who live in inner city apartments with a lot of cockroaches and lead pipes. It's just buildings that are kind of old. Um, Social determinants of health, so if they were living in Africa or, they're living in, Argentina in a nice neighborhood without cockroaches, they will not die. But it's because you've lived with cockroaches for a long time and you've kind of developed respiratory conditions. Now you're going to die. So the flu season in the winter will probably kill a lot of people, African American people in their city. So I'm really worried about that. As you know, I'm a fifth grade elementary school teacher at Savoy Elementary School in Anacostia neighborhood, Ward 8. And I was a teacher until I started at Georgetown University School of Nursing and Health Studies. I'm doing my master's program to become a clinical nurse leader. And I'm taking my clinical nurse exam next week. You know, getting registered for that was so hard. It's administered by Commission on Nursing Certification, CNC. Yeah, I had to go through all this process where I had to apply, and it's like $400 or more. And then you have to tick the box. Yeah, I'm in a clinical nurse leader program. And I have to give them the name, email, and contact information of our clinical CNL, Clinical Nurse Leader Program Director, Professor Adilma Yearwood. So I did that. Professor Margaret Nolan was the Director of Clinical Nurse Leader last year. And this year we have Dr. Adilma Yearwood, who's an expert on mental health nursing. And Dr. Nolan, she had an exciting life. She was like, what do you call it, a helicopter nurse. I think she was in the Army nursing. I mean, geez, she's like done it all. I think she's in the emergency room, intensive care unit. I'm like, wow. She was my research professor and also professor for med-surg. Medical surgical nursing, and I did clinical at Georgetown University Hospital, an orthopedics unit. And my clinical professor was Siobhan Masler. And she's the coolest person she's definitely the coolest nurse I've met. I mean, she's like definitely among the coolest persons I've known. She's so cool. And she did her Bachelor's of Science in Nursing at Fairfield University, which is also a Jesuit university in Connecticut, and she was telling us about that. And she's like a super duper mom, and and she's a great nurse. Obviously, she knows how to make her bed. I was pretty impressed because we're doing clinicals, and I'm a certified nursing aide. I have a license in Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. And so I know how to make my bed, and I worked as a clinical nurse leader in a rehabilitation center in Delaware, and also as a clinical nurse leader in Virginia. Or certified nurse's aide in Virginia. I know how to make my bed, but I was like, I mean, she made a patient's bed one time. I was like, wow, she's really good. Just like impressive. Because modern nursing, nurses almost never make beds anymore because you have the nurse techs or CNAs, certified nurses aid make beds. And, they're generally around in every unit. But I guess there was a day when there was no such thing as clinical nurses aid, or certified nurses aid. And the nurses did everything, I guess. Um, you know, so, uh, um, but I mean, I guess, it depends on where you work. Some hospitals don't have really certified nurse aides or, hospital tech. It depends on where you work. But obviously, there were certified nurse techs at Georgetown for like past how many years that Siobhan worked. So that's why I was surprised that she knows how to make the bed really well because, obviously she made a lot of beds. But, so I guess she did them, even though there are techs around. You know, uh, I like to get like 100 nurses lined up at Georgia MedStar Georgetown Hospital, University Hospital, and have them make hospital beds and see how it goes, you know. I don't know, maybe like less than 20 can make them well, you know. I guess profession of nursing has changed too. I mean, obviously, you know, making a bed in a hospital is a skill that you should know, but you don't really need to know that skill anymore because of, you know, hospital techs and CNAs, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, you have an MBA, you know, some fresh guy who went to University of Pennsylvania as an undergraduate and then worked 2 years in a, you know, Goldman and Sachs consulting firm, got an MBA from Wharton, and he's like 26, and he becomes your middle manager. He doesn't know like 90% of what you know, but you've been working like a dog with your bachelor's degree out of, you know, NYU. You have to learn everything, but you basically did not get promoted because you didn't get extra degrees. So you're still kind of like, you know, you're not at the bottom, but you're like not middle management, you're under middle management. And this, you know, this 26-year-old with MBA from Wharton comes in with his $300,000 a year paycheck into your company, and he just skipped through all the steps that you went through, and now he's like telling you what to do, and he doesn't know like 90% of what you do. Only reason why he's doing that is because he's a MBA. Yeah, education is that important because you know without an MBA, I mean you can still become a middle management, but it's harder to do and it takes much longer time, and some people never get there. But with an MBA, I mean, it's still easy to get into middle management. So it's kind of like that, you know. And my degree, you know, clinical nurse leader, master's degree at Georgetown University School of Nursing, is it's like a management degree because it's clinical nurse leader. It's an equivalent degree for nurses for MBA, master's in business administration. Obviously, we're not doing business; we're doing nursing, so it's clinical nurse leader. So it's kind of like an equivalent degree uh, in terms of like management level because we're being trained to become managers and nurses basically, but our title would be clinical nurse leader. So yeah, um, yeah. So oh, I gotta take my time to congratulate everybody for being pinned. 25 of us got pinned. Those of you who've been following the show have been following all of our exciting events throughout the year, like our pinning ceremony. Yeah, we got pinned a while ago. And 34 of us started in 2018 summer. 2 years later, we're graduating in August, but there's only 25 of us. So 34 minus 25, 9 people are not with us anymore. Yeah, it's a very intense program. So 25 of us, we survived. We're graduating in August. So I just want to say congratulations to all of us. Congratulations, everyone. CNL, CNL, Clinical Nurse Leader, Georgetown University. Oh, yes. CNL, CNL. We did it. Yay. Yeah, but I can't give you more than that. I was going to say, yay, we're going to graduate in August, but I can't. Because as you know, if you've been following this show, there are about 19 of us out of 25 who are now going to hospital actually for clinicals. And they're working with patients, and some of them may be asymptomatic for COVID, but they still transmit COVID. You know, I have this sick feeling in my stomach, like an intuition that one or two of us will die before August, you know, from COVID, because second peak has started in Virginia and Maryland, and you know, people are going to start dropping dead right and left in a couple of weeks. So yeah, so you know, I had this queasy feeling in my stomach. Um, I mean, you know, so you know, let's see. You know, hopefully that's not true. I'm hoping, but because I do have this queasy feeling and premonition that one or two may die, I can't honestly in good conscience say congratulations to 25 of us for finishing in August because August is a long way off. It's like a month away. Anything could happen at that time, and certainly one or two people can die of COVID in that period. So I'm among the opt-out group. So we had our opt-out virtual clinical today. We had one on Monday. Yeah, and our professor is great. Professor Steve's clinical nurse instructor. She actually did her Master's of Science in Nursing at University of Pennsylvania. Yeah, she did her bachelor's in nursing at Georgetown and master's at University of Pennsylvania. So, you know, as I'm the vice president of the University of Pennsylvania Alumni Association of Washington, D.C. so, so she could come to our events. She might have come to our events in the past. Because generally there's like 100 people or whatever. So, I might have met her and her family like in one of the big events with like, over 100 people, like maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. I mean, I've been vice president for about a year, but, I've been active, going to events and stuff like that for, more than a year. So, yeah, but her friends are my friends, I'm sure. I'm sure we have a lot of mutual friends because if she did her master's in nursing at University of Pennsylvania, she probably goes to a lot of alumni events at Penn, on campus, in the School of Nursing at University of Pennsylvania. I go to School of Nursing at University of Pennsylvania from time to time. Because, I interview students who apply to Bachelor's of Science in Nursing programs at Penn. So, so I sometimes go to check it out, meet the professors there, deans there, So I've been interviewing high school students who applied to University of Pennsylvania for like over 10 years. So yeah. So it's kind of exciting, kind of looking at all that is happening. It's a small world. Everybody's known as everybody. I bet she knows like Lisa Katzman. Uh, she may know Sunil, the CEO of Innova Health, who's like all Penn alumni. Sunil was like vice president of Penn Club. I took his position. Well, he after his term was up. So, but yeah. So it's kind of interesting how small the world is. World is so small. You run into people you know everywhere. People who know you, people who you know. Everybody knows everybody. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Life is like that. It's kind of funny like that. Yeah. So yeah. Anyhow, love. I love University of Pennsylvania. Love. Yeah. I miss Lisa. Lisa Katzman. She's so cool to like hang out with. Like, like we used to like see each other like in our monthly University of Pennsylvania executive board meetings, Penn Club in DC board meetings, at our president Todd's house. Now that there's COVID, it's like none of that. Yeah, it's bad. It's life has stopped for everybody in one way or another, And World Health Organization experts say this is forever. So I think it's better for you to like accept the fact that this is the normal. Like we're not going back. Once you go on COVID, you're not going back. Yeah, that's where we are. We've gone COVID, never going back. So I think it's better for you to accept the reality. I mean, let's say for any reason, COVID suddenly stops. Hey, that's a happy surprise, right? But the probability is that COVID-19 will not go back. That this is here like forever, like the experts are saying. Makes sense because HIV is here forever. There are like hundreds of thousands of people dying from HIV and AIDS every year. There are hundreds of thousands of people dying from hepatitis C virus every year. Yeah, so I mean, you shouldn't be surprised if every year millions of people die 10 years from now from COVID-19, because there are hundreds of thousands of people dying now from all kinds of conditions that are caused by virus. So like hepatitis C or like other hepatitis viruses, because there's hepatitis A, B, C, and D. Hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis D, hepatitis C, and any one of them can infect you, and you could theoretically end up dead. So, yeah. They have a vaccine for hepatitis B. I got that. It's like 3 different series. All nurses have to get that. There is a vaccine for hepatitis A, but there is no vaccine for hepatitis C. There's no vaccine for hepatitis D. There's no vaccine for hepatitis E. And most Americans don't get vaccine for hepatitis A. And it exists in mostly in third world countries like India. Um, yeah. Um, but yeah. And let's go to the articles. So there are 3 articles, all giving us bad news. Cases are skyrocketing, and I can't even begin to tell you other states. Georgia had over 3,000 cases. Its cases are skyrocketing. Arizona's cases are skyrocketing. North Carolina consistently had over 1,000 cases. It's going up. Hospitals are filled. It's the same news everywhere. This is why I think I am correct to predict 10,000 deaths per day sometime in summer, with the result that 1 million Americans will die by end of August. I think I'm actually maybe underestimating. I think maybe far more than 1 million may die by end of August at this current rate, because all those cases are going to go toward death. And especially if schools open up, like District of Columbia public schools is supposed to open in August. Half the teachers are going to die, or maybe not half, but at least 10 to 20% of the teachers who teach in public schools would die. I mean, let me just tell you, like at Savoy Elementary School, out of all the teachers that we had, because I go to the faculty meetings, I think there were maybe 3 teachers out of like 20 or 30 teachers at the teachers meeting who were not overweight. So like 90% of the teachers were overweight. Public school teachers like me, we tend to get overweight because, when you're teaching, you don't get much exercise, right? When you go home, you have to grade exams, papers, homework. There's like tons of students. It's really hard work every day. Like, grading every day. It's a lot of work. And, you want to kind of relax. And, a lot of teachers are more brainiacs, I mean, I'm generalizing, but majority of them don't like physical activity, That's why they became teachers. If they like physical activity, they'll do something that involves physical activity, Yeah, so, I think if COVID-19 spread through Savoy Elementary School, which I'm sure it definitely will, I'm sure like over 80% of students, teachers, staff will get COVID at Savoy Elementary School if it opened up. Out of the, I would say, out of the 90% of teachers who are overweight, you may have like 1/4 of them die from COVID. How are they going to survive COVID? I mean, it's a respiratory illness, and I know some of the teachers have asthma. They're going to die. Anybody with asthma who gets COVID-19 will die. I mean, how are you going to live, especially during flu season, like in the fall? You're going to die. So, yeah, I mean, I'm predicting that out of my cohort, CNL cohort 25, we're going to have 5 to 8 die by Christmas. 5 to 8. Because there's no vaccine, there's no cure. 5 to 8 of them will die. And I've already picked out the ones who are going to die if they start working in August. I'm working in August, because you live once. I mean, I trust in God. If God wants me to come home meaning heaven, because I'm born again Christian. I know I'm going home. I oppose gay marriage. I oppose abortion. And there's nothing to keep me from heaven. Like those of you who don't oppose abortion or gay marriage, you're going to hell, eternal damnation. If you vote for Democrats who support gay marriage and abortion, and even if you're evangelical Christian or practicing Catholic, you're going to go to hell, because these are crimes that are very high crimes against God. So yeah, even the Pope said, any woman who has an abortion is like a hitman. having her child killed. That's how serious it is. So you think you're gonna go to heaven having an abortion, or even like potentiating that, or voting for people or pushing that? I mean, Pope John Paul II said you cannot give communion to any Catholic politician who votes in support of abortion, even if they themselves do not have abortion, even if they themselves personally oppose abortion. If they vote for legislation that supports abortion, you cannot let them have communion, which means they're excommunicated, de facto excommunicated, which means they're going to hell. So I mean, it's basically assumed that every politician who supports gay legislation, gay marriage legislation, will go to hell, regardless of what they personally believe. Any politician who votes for gay abortion rights or gay rights, they're going to go to hell regardless of what they personally believe if they vote for that kind of legislation. So, yeah, I mean, God is pretty serious in the Bible about making everybody observe His law, and the Great Commission says you gotta make disciples of all nations. So, making sure that national laws conform to the Bible law is part of the Great Commission. So if you have a Christian politician who votes for gay rights or abortion rights, that politician is going to hell. Whether it's Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, if they support gay rights, they're going to hell. There's no question about it. God's not going to let you into heaven if you vote for any kind of pro-gay or pro-abortion legislation. It doesn't matter what you personally believe. It doesn't matter. Because God requires it, and we know that throughout the Bible, but it's encapsulated in the Great Commission, which says you got to make disciples of all nations, meaning nations have to follow God's law. So if you're Marco Rubio or Tim Scott or Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham, who supports pro-gay marriage legislation or gay rights legislation or abortion rights legislation in any shape or form, yeah, you're going to go to eternal damnation hell. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what you claim to be. Obviously, if you're going to vote for pro-gay stuff, you're not a true Christian by definition. So just like the Pope said, don't give communion to any Catholic politician who vote for abortion laws, abortion rights. Same with gay rights is far worse than abortion rights in the Bible. Romans chapter 2. Romans chapter 1 clearly condemns homosexuality. And Bible theology has always condemned homosexuality as far more evil than abortion for 2,000 years. It's mandatory death penalty for homosexuals for 2,000 years of Christian history. So yeah, it's severe crime. So, you know, if Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, or Tim Scott supports gay marriage in any shape or form, you got to treat them like non-Christians. They're not Christians. Yeah, I mean, obviously only God knows the heart, but they've lost their salvation at the moment they decide to vote in support of gay marriage rights or LGBTQ rights. Same with President Trump. If President Trump supports LGBTQ rights in any shape or form, you gotta treat him like an unbeliever. He's not a Christian. Yeah, you gotta treat him like an unbeliever. And I would encourage you not to vote for President Trump in November 2020 if he supports gay rights or gay marriage or LGBTQ rights, because you're going to go to eternal damnation in hell for voting for President Trump if he supports LGBTQ rights. You want to go to hell? I don't want to go to hell. So I promise you I will not vote for President Trump if he's pro-LGBTQ. I'm not going to go to hell. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. If President Trump comes out publicly and says, I support gay rights or gay marriage or LGBTQ rights, you will go to hell just for voting for him. Obviously, you should not vote for Joe Biden either, because Joe Biden supports LGBTQ rights. So if you vote for Joe Biden, you're going to go to hell. So, you know, if there's a politician who is against gay marriage and gay abortion and wants to legalize, you should vote for that politician. If Kanye West comes out and says, I'm against gay marriage, I'm against abortion, I will tell you to vote for him every day until November 3rd. But I mean, he has to do that publicly. It's very important. Yeah. And I would say vote against Trump, vote for Kanye. Kanye West, this man, Go West, my man. Go yay, go Kanye. But anyway, yeah, he hasn't officially come out and said, I want to legalize gay marriage. I want to legalize abortion. So yeah, let's wait and see. So obviously, every Christian will be judged by Christ, not only for what you did personally, but who you voted for. You're not a schizophrenic mental case. You cannot vote against your faith and religion. So you cannot vote for any political candidate who supports abortion rights or LGBTQ rights, even if they personally uh, think that it's sin or think it's wrong. You can't do that because you're potentiating discipleship for saying. And the Great Commission, Jesus, when he was ascending to heaven, said, make disciples of all nations. Yeah, and you've heard of the All Nations Church, right? Every inner city neighborhood is like an all nations church. Disciples of all nations. It's not just making disciples of people. You got to make disciples of all nations. Yeah. So California hits record high 11,694 new coronavirus cases in one day. So at least 500 of them will die just from today's tally. So that was in Daily Beast by Blake Montgomery. And the significant quote there is, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced Wednesday that a record high daily increase in coronavirus cases had hit the Golden State, 11,694, breezing past its previous record, which was below 10,000 cases. He placed blame on those who have ignored or defied precautions. Look at the California Governor Newsom. He's like blaming Californians. Like he's trying to make himself invisible. He's blaming Californians for all this. I mean, geez, buck stops with you, Governor Newsom. Right? So you need to understand the buck stops with you. But I understand it's an emergency case in California. And so, you know, he's panicking. He's panicking, and that's why he's pointing fingers. You know, that's what people do when they panic. They start pointing fingers. And it's unfortunate, you know, Governor Gavin Newsom may be having a nervous breakdown. Poor guy. Yeah, and this is like forever. It's going to continue on and on. According to WHO, Center for Disease Control, World Health Organization, it's going to continue on forever. And there's no promise of a vaccine. Yeah, so, you know, get a grip on yourself. Yeah, second article that's important is Florida hit with 9,989 new coronavirus cases as the death toll nears 4,000. So death rate is going up slowly but surely, and it's going to start accelerating in a few weeks. And that was a Miami Herald by Michelle Marchant. And Florida Department of Health on Wednesday confirmed 9,989 additional cases of COVID-19, the fourth highest single day total recorded since the pandemic began in March. The state now has 223,783 confirmed cases, so at least 10,000 of them will die. For the highest single day total was recorded Saturday with 11,458 cases, so similar to what California had today. So they're kind of competing with each other to be like number one. And it could go up without limit, right? It could be 20,000 cases per day in California and also in Florida. There's no law in nature to say 100,000 people in California can get infected in one day. That's possible. especially if Florida schools open up in August. Yeah, I mean, now with no schools open, you have 11,458 cases on Saturday. With schools open, could easily see 50,000 cases per day. Um, yeah, Texas reports, this is the third article, Texas reports 9,979 more COVID-19 cases, and the new single day record, 98 deaths. So death rate is going up in Texas as well. So before today, they've never seen a death rate of more than 98 or close to 98 per day. But now they're seeing it, and it's going to keep going up. And, you know, you can hit 1,000 a day in Texas. And that was in Fort Worth Star Telegram by Brian Lopez. And the significant quote from there is, on Wednesday, Texas set a new single-day record for COVID-19 deaths and hospitalization, and had the second largest single-day total of new cases. The Lone Star State reported 9,979 new cases and 98 deaths, an increase from Tuesday's single-day high of 60 deaths. According to Texas Department of State Health Services data. So you went, the last record was 60 deaths per day. Now they're at 98 deaths per day. And now you're going to be counting the record of deaths that are broken. 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 375, 400, all the way to 1,000 deaths. Yeah, that's what you're going to see. Yeah, it's tragic what's happening, but it's a killer virus. That's what it's supposed to do, to infect and kill. And that's why I say close all schools down for fall 2020. It's the right thing to do. Close your school down if you don't want your child to get COVID and die. And if your child goes to school, your child becomes a vector. Every day your child goes to school, your child could get COVID and die, himself or herself, but your child can also bring that thing back home, give it to you, and then you will die. You could die from it. And that's like every day. Every day you're going to live in fear. You think you're stressed out now. Wait until your child goes to school. Every day you're not sure whether to hug your child or not. And you have that fear, and you're going to feel guilty for feeling that. And you're going to hate yourself for feeling that. Some of you are going to get, like stab yourself to death or overdose on drugs and die, or because you'll be so depressed because every time you're hugging your child, your hands are shaking, your arms are shaking, you're scared to death, you get triggered. Yeah. Yeah, you guys will be nervous wrecks. When you're driving, your hands are going to shake on your steering wheel. You think the car's shaking, but it's actually your hand shaking. Yeah. You're going to be a nervous wreck in the fall because every day you don't know. Number one, if your child got COVID because you love your child, you don't want your child to get COVID and die. And number two, because you know you could get COVID from your child and die. Every time you touch your child, every time you hug your child. Is that a way to live as a mom? Is that a way to live as a dad? Don't you want to be able to hug your child every day? Geez, if your child goes to school, I mean, what are you going to do? You have to hug your child, but maybe you and your child will die together within like 2 weeks of each other. That's what you're looking at. What do you think is going to happen if your child goes to school in the fall? This is COVID-19 is spreading everywhere, and it's killing at the rate of like 4 to 5% with every case load. That's what's going to happen. Who knows which person will be 5%? Once the hospitals fill up, it could be 10%, 20%. You don't know. And during flu season, it may naturally be like 20% death of all cases. We don't know. If your child has asthma, your child will probably definitely die from it. If you have asthma, you'll probably definitely die from it. So why would you want your child to go to school? It doesn't make any sense. When you come to the hospital, they'll be like, let me see into your eyes. Okay. Let me see your pupils. They're round, perla. Pupils are equal, round, Um, and uh, something to accommodation. Let's see. Pupils are equal round. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I forgot Perla. Perla is pupils are equal round. Uh, uh, Perla is Perrla. Pupils are equal to round, reactive to light and accommodation. Yes. Perla, Perrla, pupils, like your pupil inside your eye, like when you open your eye, you see the pupil. Pupils are equal uh, and round, because your pupil have to be equal, right? One can be bigger than the other, because that means there's a problem. Like if you do like too many drugs, your pupils may show a problem. That's why you should not do any drugs. Um, Pupils are equal, reactive to light. Like when I when I flash the light on your pupil should change in size. So that's like reactive to light and accommodation. Accommodation is like if I go closer to you with this pen light, even without the light on, there should be a change. Your pupils have to accommodate this, show change. And accommodation means like, it's adjusting to it. So Perla, pupils are equal, round, reactive to light and accommodation. Yeah. See how good of a nurse I am? I have 3.449 GPA at Georgia. That's like 3.5 GPA. That's like an A minus average. Um, yeah, so I'm very good at what I do. And my specialty is like physical assessment. I'm like a master at physical assessment. Like I discover things like people don't discover. Yeah, so that's like my specialty. Um, yeah, so you're very lucky, if you have me as a nurse in August, because I start working as a nurse in August. So you're very blessed if if you have me be your nurse, because I'm really good at what I do. Not all nurses are created equal. It's like anything in life. Not all CPA certified public accountants are created equal. Mine is really good. My certified public accountant is in Richmond. I drive all the way there because she's so good. She's a Filipino woman, and her daughter is uh, she, her daughter is doing a residency at Virginia Commonwealth University, and her daughter's brilliant. She's going to UCLA Medical Center um, for like some kind of specialization. Yeah, so yeah, she's brilliant. I told her to go to UCLA because I'm the treasurer of the UCLA Alumni Association in Washington D.C. So I plug for UCLA. I tried to recruit like the best people to UCLA Medical Center. Yeah, so she was like, should I go to Harvard or should I go to Stanford? Should I go to UCLA or should I go to like University of Maryland or Duke? I said, go to UCLA. And you know what I said? Which is true. I said, because, she's Filipino, I'm Korean. Um, and if she wants to advance, probably the best way to advance is to go to like UCLA because over 50% of the university is Asian. And yeah, so Asians will, watch your back. you know. But you go to Harvard. I mean, Asians are discriminated against. So, I mean, you go to Harvard, but I discouraged her from going to Harvard. I say, it's your daughter has a bright future. If she goes to UCLA Medical School, she'll shine. And she won't experience much discrimination. If she does, they're going to retaliate. All the Asians at UCLA, they will retaliate. So the white people, black people, Hispanic people at UCLA, they fear retaliation from Asians because they're the majority. Asians are the majority at UCLA, so they're going to be careful. So yeah, so I mean, the whole city of Los Angeles, there's a lot of Asians there. But UCLA, particularly, like 50% of the undergraduate student body is Asian. So yeah, they're going to retaliate. All the alumni in the area, there's like tens of thousands of alumni. So yeah, So I said, yeah, just go to UCLA Medical Center. So she and her daughter signed up to go to UCLA Medical Center. So VCU is considered #1 hospital in Virginia, from what I understand. So that's why she went to VCU. It's like Virginia's #1 hospital. And UCLA Medical Center is high up there. I would say I encourage them to go to UCLA more than Stanford or UCSF, because UCSF is limited. Like, the good thing about UCLA Medical Center is there's a top dental school, UCLA Dental School, that's there, UCLA Medical School, UCLA Nursing School, UCLA School of Public Health. So you have a law school there, and there's some law professors who specialize in public health or health law. Um, and then you have the MBA program, and some of them are healthcare oriented. You have PhD programs in biology, chemistry, physics, like all kinds of sciences. So that's why I told her to go to UCLA Medical School, not Medical Center, not UCSF or Stanford, because Stanford, UCSF, may have some top people, but they're limited in terms of the potential for growth. So that's what I encouraged, her to do. And her mom said she agreed, and she went. She was like, I think she was like a vice president, or she was a high up there, Chase Manhattan Bank, and then she retired early. I mean, she's like worth millions, I'm sure. Um, she retired early to accompany her daughter every step of the way. So she's been going with her daughter wherever she goes, and she works for H&R Block. So there's H&R Block everywhere in the country. So wherever she goes, she works for the HR Block there. So she says she's going to be working for HR Block in Los Angeles, Westwood. They have a nice place that they got in Westwood, LA. She's like, I don't want my daughter to have to take transportation because of the traffic. I'm like, that's so smart. You can just walk from your home to your C Medical Center, and then she could work at the Westwood H&R Block. She's amazing. So I drive to all the way to Richmond every year. She does my taxes. Yeah, she's brilliant. She's from Philippines. I think her daughter was born in America. Maybe she came when she was young. But yeah, so they're both Filipinos, 100% Filipinos. Nice people. I love Filipinos. So yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, things are happening, and the world is never going to be the same. I still see on TV people talking like, when we get to normal. No, we're not going to get to normal. This is the normal. Do you think like dinosaurs were like, oh, it used to be so warm before the, or did they die warm? They died because the ice age ended, right? So are they like cold-blooded? I don't know much about dinosaurs, but well, their environment changed and they couldn't adapt. And so the most powerful animals in the animal kingdom died, the dinosaurs, because they couldn't adapt to the environment. Do you want to be one of these people who die because you can't adapt to the environment? The world has changed permanently. We're not going to go back to how it was, because this is not a season of virus, first of all. If this is a season of virus, it could go back and come back and it may disappear, but this is like hepatitis C virus. This is like HIV virus. It's like 365 days a year. It's a virus that never dies. And it's going to live on people, and it can infect new people every time. And, every time there's a birth, there's a new person to infect. So COVID-19 will not run out of people to infect. Until every person, all 8 billion people in the world are dead, COVID-19 will not run out of people to infect. So this is here forever now. Except the problem for us is it's far lethal than HIV and hepatitis C, and it infects everybody just by breathing on them. Like you talk to someone, could get it. That's the problem. But yeah, this is here forever. Don't think like, oh, because this is like such a crazy virus, it's going to just go away. No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. This is here forever. Get used to it, accept it. You know, I know some of you are in the denial stage of grief. You know, maybe I'll discuss the stages of grief another time, a little bit more in depth. But you're in denial stage. You're like, oh, this is gonna go away. Oh, it's not that deadly. Some of you are like stuck in the denial stage of grief. You're grieving because of all the happy dating that you can have that you can no longer have. You're grieving because you can no longer go to college and take courses there and make new friends. You're grieving because you can't talk to a normal human being without a mask, without the risk of getting infected and dying. So you're grieving. So one of the ways you grieve is like denial. You're denying, like, oh, it's not real, or oh, it's not as bad as people say. Oh, you know, no, don't believe the liberal media. They lie, fake news. That's why I created this show, so you don't have like liberal media telling you everything's going to be okay. Yeah, so you got to watch this show every day. So I'm going to give you facts, right? Of course you want X, Y, and Z. Don't you want to win the lottery and become a multimillionaire and buy that Lamborghini? If I ever marry a billionaire, the first birthday gift I want from like her billionaire parents is a, a, a blue Lamborghini that's $2.3 million that I won't even drive around. Just, you know, I will ask her dad to build me a racetrack where I will fly the Confederate flag. I won't fly NASCAR, Confederate flag and the U.S. flag. And I'll just go round and round in that little truck with the, you know, the $2.7 million Lamborghini, blue Lamborghini. Well, the yellow Lamborghini may look better. But anyway, I like the color blue, so yeah. Maybe I'll just make the track yellow. Then you will take the blue car on the, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you want to win the lottery. I want a blue Lamborghini that's $2.7 million that I only use to just drive around in the track and show off, or maybe drive to like special events. Yeah, there are a lot of things that we want, you know. Um, but you see my point, you know. Yeah, you want COVID-19 to go away. You want it to just disappear, but no, it's not going to disappear. It's a 365 days a year virus like hepatitis C, like HIV. It's not going to go away. Yeah, you got to come back to reality. You have to get out of your denial stage. This is not going to go away. You know, just because you open schools and have your children go to schools, it's not going to drive the virus away. Only thing that's going to happen is your children die from COVID. That's what's going to happen. You know, you have to live in reality. I mean, you can't like, just because you're trying to fight the virus, you want to be tough against the virus, you're going to send your children to your school to die from the virus? Are you kidding me? You're 7, 8-year-old kid, little baby. I mean, they're not baby, but you know, like, little kid, you're going to send them away to die in COVID just to prove your political point? Are you kidding me? I mean, let's be real here. You know, don't play with your life, but certainly do not play with your child's life. This is a killer virus that kills. What do you think it does? I mean, geez, you know, this is time to hunker down, print more money. You gotta solve the problem another way than opening up. I mean, geez, this is killing people. You don't have a nation if you start having millions of people dying. And that's going to happen in this flu season, especially if you send your kids to school. You're not going to have a nation. I mean, geez, you're not going to have a nation, which means all the businesses in America will collapse simultaneously. Every single one. That's what you may be potentially looking at in Christmas. If like 5 million people die by Christmas, I guarantee you all the businesses will collapse. Some of them will never be able to recover. Is that what you want? The smart thing to do is close everything down now, print more money, try to subsist at a survival mode, and then when the vaccine is developed, the cure is developed, and then you open up. I mean, geez, I mean, it's like, if there's a hunter out there, enemy soldier trying to kill you, did you hear about that American soldier in one of the islands during World War II? He was the only person in his unit to be alive. And he was hiding out in the jungle, and they discovered him like 18 years later, and he was alive. Why do you think he was alive? Because he was hiding out in the jungle. He said, I didn't want to come out because I didn't want to be killed by the Japanese. I had no way of knowing whether the Japanese were still there or not. So he lived in solitude for 18 years in this little island, and he survived. So 18 years later, when he was discovered, he was able to adjust back to American life again. Yeah. I mean, you don't survive by sticking your neck out when the bullets are flying. You get hit by that bullet and you die. Like, if you're a soldier, like in the Navy or Marines. Right? I mean, you rush normally not because you think you're not going to die, because you're trying to accomplish a purpose for your nation, so you die. But should you send your children out to die so nation can engage in some kind of experiment? No. This COVID-19 is going to kill millions of Americans. The smart thing to do is go on the defensive mode to protect the maximum number of US citizens to survive this so the whole country is not destroyed. I mean, our country can cease to exist by Christmas if like 5 million Americans die by Christmas. You think you stop the death once it goes over a certain benchmark? You cannot turn back the time. Like if your schools open up and 1 million kids are infected, you close the school down, all 1 million people could die. All 1 million children could die. And before they die, they could infect their siblings. That's another million. They could infect their mother and father. That's another 2 million. And those mother and father could infect their neighbors. You could easily have 5 million Americans die by Christmas. Once there are 1 million children infected, you cannot turn back the time. It's possible for all of them to die. You can't turn back the time. And so right now is the only time you can stop yourself from making the biggest mistake of your life. And, as you know, I'm a clinical nurse leader in making. I'll take my certification exam next week, and I'll be officially certified as clinical nurse leader. So I'm an expert. I'm an expert clinical nurse leader. Technically, right? I've been trained as an expert clinical nurse leader. Only thing that separates my title is that exam that I'm taking next week. So in a sense, I'm speaking to you as an expert, healthcare expert. I still have to wait to be certified technically, but I'm taking that exam. But so you need to listen to other experts as well. It's not like I'm the only one saying this. Practically every health expert is saying this. So you need to take this advice seriously. I mean, I'm running for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County, and I'm constantly tweeting to Arlington Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Fairfax City Public Schools, Falls Church Public Schools to close down the schools for fall semester to save your children's life. I mean, just look at my tweet and you look at, I always include these schools whenever, I can to encourage closing down schools. Just go to my Twitter account, which is Heerak for Congress, Heerak for Congress. That's what I do. I'm trying to save your children's life. I'm trying to save your life. I care about you guys. And that's why I'm running for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, right? To save your life, save your children's life. Because this thing is forever. So vote for Heerak Christian Kim. That's who I am. For U.S. Congress, I'm independent candidate. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm independent. Vote for me for U.S. Congress. So I'm running against Jeff Jordan, who's Republican. I'm running against Don Beyer, who's Democrat. And my friend, is also running as an independent. Mike Webb. Make sure you tick my box, Heerak Christian Kim. Heerak Christian Kim. I mean, we're all friends, you know, Mike Webb, me, Mark Elmore and the Republican Party, Jeff Jordan, the Republican Party. So we're all friends, but you know, I feel I could do a better job. That's why I'm running. Uh, I guess Mike Webb feels that he could do a better job, so he's running. But yeah, vote for me, Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress on November 3rd, 2020. Um, yeah, I mean, I want to save your life. I want to save your children's life, but you got to vote for me so I can make that happen, right? Through policy changes that are needed to save your life, your children's life. So visit my website, heerakforcongress.com. Follow me on Twitter, Heerak for Congress, Heerak number 4 Congress, Heerak for Congress on Twitter. Yeah, and retweet my stuff. Uh, tell people about this show that so that their lives can be saved as well from COVID. You know, I provide helpful information, and I'm running for U.S. Congress because I believe I can save your life and your children's life. And you've seen this show, and you've seen that I've been consistently right. So you know you need me in U.S. Congress, and that's why you should vote for me. And that's why you should tell your friends about me and encourage them to vote for me as well. In Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County, I advocate for you. You know, and I've been trained at Georgetown University in my 2-year clinical nurse leader program to advocate for you. Yeah, that's one of the training that we get, how to advocate for not only our own patients, but for community health or public health nursing. Yeah, so public health is like everybody in Arlington, Alexandria Falls Church, and Fairfax County, Regions 8 District. So that's what I'm doing. I'm advocating for you in the manner that I've been trained at Georgetown University, right? I'm advocating for you and your children so you don't die. So I'm advocating for you with Arlington County Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Fairfax City Public Schools, and Falls Church Public Schools. I am advocating for you. What is Don Beyer doing? He's doing nothing, right? I'm the only one who's advocating for you to save your life and your children's life. That's why you should vote for me in November 3rd, 2020. Yeah, I'm independent candidate for U.S. Congress, Virginia's 8th District, and it's in your interest to vote for me, Heerak Christian Kim, for U.S. Congress. What's in it for you? Your life and your children's life. That's what's in it for you. So I'm glad that you checked in today for this show so they could get information that you need to survive COVID-19 and to protect your children from COVID-19 death. And I hope that you will tune in tomorrow to get further information. I want you to live. The majority of the people who don't have information, who are not protecting themselves, may put themselves in danger for death. So make sure you share the information with your friends, your family, your adult children to watch this show every day so they could survive COVID-19 as well. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I hope that your family will be well and that your children will be well too. Bye.